Hi friends, hope you're having a great new year. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview for each sign in this video. Since I was busy doing the astrology for 2025, I didn't have time to do the horoscopes, each individual horoscopes this month. So I put together this video to go over each rising sign and each sun sign in this one video. So you'll have all 12 signs in this video, giving you a little bit of an overview of what January 2025 is going to look like. Okay, so just move ahead. Each segment will be about 3 minutes each. And, at least they'll give you an idea of what's going on. Anyway, so let's start off with Aries or Aries rising. So if you have either one of those, here is the chart for you. And so we have to look to Mars. Mars is your ruling planet. And as we start off the new year, it's opposing powerful Pluto. So many of you are struggling with a sense of direction. What am I doing? Where am I going? I'm not sure. Is this what I really want? So this is totally normal. There's a deep psychological component to this opposition. Then Mars will move back into the fourth house on January the 6th, giving you an opportunity to revisit the past. And that means neighborhoods, maybe deciding to move, changing, having to do with emotions and family dynamics. That's all in the mix as we start off the new year, and January in particular for many of you. Okay, now this area really gets lit up with the full moon on the 13th. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge as well, because it's going to be conjunct Mars. So maybe you're thinking about moving. Maybe your emotions are off the charts. Maybe you're having some family dynamics. This is all in the mix as we start off the year. And January the 12th is that time frame there. There's a lot of activity going on around there. Okay, so as we continue the month, we go through the 19th, the sun leaves Capricorn and now goes into the 11th house, where you find yourself more social or wanting to be around other people, or, feeling a little bit more friendlier than normal. Remember that heavy energy from the fourth house is not very comfortable. So, but the sun now will brighten things up a little bit, a little bit more hope for the future and, focusing on things that you want to attain. The new moon on the 29th will also highlight this 11th house. So for many of you, you're going in a new direction. You're thinking about changing neighborhoods, maybe making some new friends towards the end of January. And then actually at the end of the month, Uranus wakes up on the 30th in this second house of income and values. So you're going to be feeling a lot more energy towards the end of the month. Okay, so let's go to Taurus. Taurus and Taurus rising. Here is your overview for January 2025. We start off the month. We see that same Mars opposing Pluto. So this has a lot to do with feelings and emotions and foundations. Where do I belong? Where am I going? What do I want? Focusing on real estate, maybe a move of some kind. This is all at the beginning of the year because of the opposition to Pluto right there. Now, on the 6th, the Mars will backtrack into the third house of communication. So once again, you're, revisiting something or someone from the past. You're connecting with family members or friends. And there's a very nostalgic feeling to this. Your ruler Venus is moving through Pisces now. So 11th house. As you can see here, she's going to run into a couple of these planets, Saturn and Neptune, throughout February, I believe. And so this is going to be very important as well. So it's a very social time. You're looking towards the future with, sort of a new set of eyes, and you're focusing on that. The full moon in Cancer will be in this third house of communication as well. So something to do with the family dynamics, something to do with your foundation, real estate matters, moving, remodeling, redecorating is all going to be in the mix as well with the full moon on the 13th. Now, as we continue forward, we have on the 19th, the sun leaves Capricorn and now enters your 10th house of career on the 19th. So we're looking at focusing on the career and status. This is going to be very important as your work becomes extremely important. And so getting out there, making new friends, new ways of doing things, using technology, and so on. The new moon also this month will be in the 10th house of career. So many of you may be getting new jobs, promotions, thinking outside the box, especially on the 30th when Uranus begins to wake up in Taurus. So at the end of this month, there's many changes coming into the picture for many of you who are Taurus rising or a Taurus sun sign. Now let's go to Gemini and Gemini rising. Here we see that Mars opposition Pluto right at the beginning of the month. And so it's in your third house of communication. Many of you, as you know, this past year, at least the past 6 months, your minds have been extremely overactive. Okay, because of the Mars in the third house and then retrograding back, but also because of Jupiter in your first house of identity and self in a retrograde phase. So as we start off in January here, you guys are still pondering your future, your career. You're not sure. It's like you're going through the motions and you're in semi-fantasy land. And this is unfortunately, because of the planets in Pisces. But Mars will retrograde back into the second house, into the sign of Cancer on January the 6th. So now, once again, you guys are focusing on money, family, foundation, security, things having to do with emotions and how they're connected to your financial life. So that's going to be a top priority here. The full moon in Cancer on the 13th will continue to highlight this third house. So, the second house. So things having to do, once again, with financial matters are on the table here. And so maybe you have expenses for your home. Maybe you're buying a home. Maybe you're remodeling. Something to do with the family expenditures come up around the 13th. Now, as we continue forward, we see that on the 19th, the sun will leave Capricorn, which is usually pretty heavy and, can be a little dark in the 8th house, and enters the 9th house of travel, exploring, and venturing out. So after the 19th, you feel a little bit more excited about things. And the new moon will also highlight this 9th house. So you are feeling definitely more optimistic and friendly and wanting to break out of the doldrums. And of course, on the 30th, Uranus also wakes up in Taurus here in the 12th house. It's going to give you a little bit of a boost as well. What you guys are waiting for is Jupiter to wake up, and that's not going to happen until, I believe, the end of February. So, but this month is all about revisiting the past and looking forward to the future on the second half of the month, okay? All right, so we got Cancer and Cancer rising. Let's take a look at your chart. Now, this is going to be very important for many of you because not only is the Mars opposition Pluto in your 2nd to 8th house causing concerns over financial matters and where you're going and how you earn your income or investments, but Mars is going to retrograde back into your 1st house on January the 6th, causing you to become more irritable, restless, and maybe revisiting something or someone from the past because Mars is in retrograde and it's going to be in Cancer. Mars did not do well in Cancer, sorry to have to say, but it will motivate you in some way to change your life one way or another. It could be you're moving, maybe you're changing your identity, your personality, or you're getting rid of people that don't belong in your life anymore, especially with the Capricorn sun going through this part of your chart, which has to do with relationships. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, we do have some favorable alignments in Pisces here, as you can see here with Venus and Saturn and Neptune, which is making things a little bit easier for many of you. But what this Mars is backtracks through here, and then the full moon on the 13th really activates this Cancer energy in your 1st house. You're feeling more sensitive than normal, and you feel like you need to break free from something or someone. So keep that in mind, okay? But it's really the energy going within and you figuring things out. That's what's really going on here because Mars represents the self and it'll be in the 1st house. On the 19th, the sun leaves Capricorn and goes into your 8th house. So the sun in the 8th house is a time where you're going very, very deep into your subconscious, focusing on shared resources and having to do with money matters or investments. So your mind is going to shift into these areas. But also the new moon is going to be on the 29th, highlighting this 8th house as well. So something to do with financial matters is absolutely on the table as we go into the second half of January. And of course, on the 30th, Uranus wakes up in this 11th house. And so now you're looking towards the future a little bit more. So the second half of the month, your priorities are going to be about financial issues more so, but the new moon should help out quite a bit. Okay. And now let's go to Leo and Leo rising. Now we have, Mars is in Leo right now. It's in retrograde and it's going to backtrack, unfortunately, into this 12th house. Now, what do I mean by that? Mars is weakened enough already in Cancer when it goes into Cancer. And then it goes into your 12th house in this reverse process, and it's opposing Pluto. So many of you know what I'm talking about with relationships. It's been really a roller coaster ride with relationships for many of you because of this Mars opposing the Pluto. So Mars, when it enters back in here on January the 6th, you're feeling your energy is not the same, and you're very nostalgic. You know, maybe you're sabotaging yourself a little bit by maybe overeating or not doing what you want to do. You know, we're in very heavy energy right now, so I totally understand. But Mars is giving you an opportunity to look at the past and say to yourself, what's not working anymore? I don't need this in my life anymore. You know, whatever that is, a belief system, an ideology, a habit, whatever. And so you're going to be going through this cycle as well. The good news is by April, it returns back into your sign, and that's when you're feeling more empowered. Now, the full moon is going to highlight this 12th house of endings and limitations as well, along with Mars, and that's going to be on the 13th. So coming to terms with something about either your health or someone else's health, or some bad habits that you don't need anymore, or something to do with a family dynamics are on the table here. Now, on the 19th, the sun leaves the 6th house and goes into your 7th house, which has a lot to do with relationships and partnerships. And the new moon on the 29th will continue to highlight the 7th house of relationships and partnerships. So this could be a really good time for you now to, clear the air, make things right, revisit the past, and, maybe you're meeting some new people as well towards the end of the month. And of course, Uranus will wake up here on the 30th in your 10th house of career, giving you ideas about the future and what you need to focus on. Okay. Now, Virgo and Virgo rising. Let's take a look at your chart. Here we see Mercury is now moving direct, and this Mars opposing Pluto is in the 12th to the 6th house. So health matters or concerns over health, and this could be psychological health, are also on the table here because Mars does not do well in the 12th house. Mars will be retrograding back into the 11th house on January the 6th, causing you to rethink everything about where you're going, what you want, where you've been, revisiting the past as far as neighborhoods, friends, associates. And it'll give you an opportunity to really look at that area and say, is this what I really want? Now, relationships are going to be very important this month because of Venus going through Pisces, which is your opposite sign right here. And eventually it will move and conjunct Saturn and also, Neptune. So here is a lot of opportunity here to meet some new people or to be involved with people from the past that you really feel a connection to. So keep an eye on that. The full moon on the 13th is going to continue to highlight this 11th house. And so this has to do with the past. This has to do with the future as well. The 11th house has to do with hopes and wishes for the future, but it's in Cancer, the nostalgic sign. So you are really pondering what direction you need to go in. Is this what I really want? Is this what I really want? My suggestion, don't make any major life-changing decisions. Remember, Mars is in retrograde, so it's confusing enough as it is. Okay, take little baby steps and get things done on a small level. And then when the energy, loosens up and feels right, then you could pounce. Now, after the 19th, let's see, the sun goes into the 6th house. So you're focusing once again on your daily routine or habits and health matters. And then the new moon on the 29th continues to highlight the 6th house. So things having to do with taking better care of your health are on the table towards the end of January. So I would highly suggest you focus on that. Also, at the end of the month, we also have on the 30th, Uranus waking up. So you have an opportunity possibly for a sudden trip somewhere or sudden traveling. So this could be kind of exciting at the same time. Now, let's go to Libra and Libra rising. All right, so here we see with the Libra rising, Venus is your ruler. It's in the 6th house. So many of you are focusing on your daily routine, health matters, bettering yourself in some way. But this pesky Mars opposing Pluto is affecting everyone in every sign. So we see it here in the 11th house. You're not sure where you're going, what you're doing. You're feeling somewhat creative, but you're not sure where to put this energy. Now Mars will backtrack into the 10th house of career on January the 6th. Now you're revisiting something or someone from the past. Okay, so this seems to be the theme here, whether it's old friends, old neighborhoods, people you've been associating with, You do need to pay attention to your health this month because of all this energy in the 6th house. And Venus will be conjuncting Saturn and then conjuncting Neptune probably in February. Yeah, February is going to be when it conjuncts Neptune, but it will be conjuncting Saturn. So pay attention to your health middle of the month. And on the 13th, the full moon will continue to highlight this 10th house of career. You know, this could have something to do with your home life. It could have something to do with feelings. It could have something to do with a family dynamic and your job. Maybe you're tired of your job. You don't want to be where you want to be, or the location you're living in, because Cancer rules the home, and Mars is going to be conjunct this full moon. So this is going to bring out a lot of energy to motivate you to change in some way, either your job career or your home. On the 19th, the sun moves out of the 4th house and into the 5th house, which is going to be much better for you because it's a very creative alignment, and this is a very exciting time for many of you, and that's going to be on the 19th. Then on the 29th, the new moon highlights this 5th house. So something new, something fun, something exciting is coming into the picture towards the end of the month. It could be a new person as well, suddenly surprises you. But it's something that you might want to look into that could be fulfilling in some way. So I would take advantage of that. At the end of the month, on the 30th, Uranus begins to wake up. And so this heavy energy starts to loosen up a bit more. So between Uranus in the 8th waking up and the new moon here, it should make you feel a whole lot better. Okay? Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Let's take a look. Now, Pluto is your ruler and Mars is your co-ruler, and you could see here how these guys have been going at it for a while, and now they're exact at the beginning of the new year. So this is about your home, feeling, and foundation. This is about your career. So there's this push and pull, this overdoing it, stressing yourself out between these two here. Okay, and unfortunately, Mars is going to backtrack into Cancer on January the 6th. And maybe, unfortunately, is something from the past resurfaces once again. And so you'll have to address it. It could have something to do with education, learning, or sudden travel or trips, or a family dynamic, that's been on your mind or you've been dealing with for a while. That's going to resurface as well. Remember, Mars is going to stay retrograde until February the 24th, and then after that, it's still in Cancer. It starts moving forward. But it is a water sign like yours, which could help you out a lot. But we see Venus is also in a very favorable alignment here in the 5th house. So what I mean by that is that this could be something fun, exciting. Maybe you're dealing with a partnership. Maybe you're dealing with a child or children or family dynamics, and they seem to be going well, okay? Except for this Mars going backward and not quite sure how it's going to play itself out. So that's going to be really important. And also because on the 13th, Mars will conjunct the full moon in the 9th house. So this could be sudden surprises in traveling or something to do with a belief system or an understanding of what you've been doing. And there's a lot of emotion around it. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's a lot of emotion around the 13th that you might be dealing with. It might not be, coming from you, might be coming from someone else. Now, on the 19th, the sun finally leaves the 3rd house of communication and goes into your 4th house, again, emphasizing something to do with the home or real estate or remodeling in some way or family dynamics. That's what the 4th house represents. And the new moon on the 29th will also continue to highlight this 4th house. So again, it could be a move. It could be buying land. It could be buying a new house. It could be buying something to do with the foundation. So keep that in mind. On the 30th, Uranus begins to wake up out of its retrograde, moving forward with a relationship or a situation or a financial endeavor. This is going to be highlighted towards the end of January. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Let's take a close look at your alignments that are happening. Mercury is in your sign right now, so many of you are now feeling much more social or self-expressive in some way. The Pluto opposing Mars has been a real thorn in the side for everybody, but it has to do with your thinking and it has to do with your future and direction. Mars will retrograde back into the 8th house on January the 6th. Once again, revisiting the past, having to do with family dynamics, emotions, feelings, nostalgia. But the 8th house also has to do with finances and investments, and it's in Cancer. So maybe you're thinking about selling your home, buying a new property, revisiting the old neighborhood. Whatever it is, Mars is going to activate this 8th house. And it will be activated even more on the 13th when Mars conjuncts the full moon in the 8th house. So you'll be coming to some sort of realization about a relationship, a situation, something to do with a family matter. There's a lot of emotion around this, or it could have something to do with investments of some kind, because the 8th and the 2nd house both represent investments and money matters. Okay, so this is really going to be big, important news. Maybe you're selling a property, maybe you're buying one, something along, expenses around the house, that kind of stuff. On the 19th, the sun leaves the 2nd house, goes into your 3rd house of communication. So self-expression, creativity, short trips, traveling are all being highlighted around the 19th. And especially on the 29th when the full moon highlights this 3rd house. So many of you are going to be moving forward, thinking in new ways, new opportunities, being friendlier, more self-expressive in some way. Maybe you're moving into a new neighborhood and you're meeting some new neighbors. That's possible. On the 30th, Uranus wakes up right here in your 6th house of health and service, and now you really want to change up your routine. You want to do something different. You're bored and tired of doing the same thing over and over again. So now you're kind of breaking out of the boredom and the box towards the end of the month. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Here, this is your time of the year, obviously, as you go into January. Here is the sun going through your 1st house of identity and self. So many of you are feeling motivated, excited. You got this fresh new start that it feels like is coming to you. But there's an underlying sort of uncertainty here. Pluto is in Aquarius. Mars is in Leo. And Mars is going to retrograde back into the 7th house of relationships on January the 6th. So now we have this concern over relationships once again, or you're going down memory lane. In other words, people from the past, situations from the past, nostalgia from the past is really going to be a primary focus here, the beginning of this month. But even more emphasized on the 13th as the full moon is going to highlight the 7th house, but it's going to be conjunct Mars. So there's a lot of volatility around the 13th having to do with a partnership, a relationship, a home matter, a family dynamic. Something that's going on that could be very explosive or very emotional in some way. And that's all around the 13th. On the 19th, the sun finally leaves your sign, goes into the 2nd house of income and values. And so now you're focusing, on the being a little more grounded, or focusing on expenditures and money and making money, or bringing in some other form of income, especially around the 29th when the new moon highlights the 2nd house as well. And so this is going to be very advantageous for money-making opportunities or investments of some kind, and you might find yourself buying more stuff than you need. Okay, on the 30th, Uranus wakes up out of this 5th house here. It starts to give you a little bit more clarity with your love life or a creative project that you've been working on. All right. Now, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Here is your overview. As we start off the month, we have the sun going through the 12th house, which is very nostalgic, and you're really thinking about everything. But this Pluto right here in the 1st house, which is going to be with you for the next, 17, 18 years, is opposing Mars in Leo. So what do we have here? We have this dynamic in relationships that is not the greatest, because there's this push and pull going. Whoever this person is that's in your life right now or not in your life is either irritating you, or there could be some irritations with other people in some way, some regard, because Mars is in a retrograde, which means going within and not sure. And when Mars retrogrades back into the 6th house, that's going to be January the 6th, now we have focus on health and daily routine and taking care of another. Okay, this could be a pet, this could be another person, but Mars is going to go through the 6th house and make things a little bit more irritable for a while, unfortunately. On the 13th, it's going to be exacerbated even more as the full moon is going to be in Cancer, being joined by Mars in retrograde in the 6th house. So you need to watch your health or someone else's health. They may not be doing too well. Could be a family member, could be a pet, could be something to do with your work. They're just irritating the hell out of you and it's making you feel so miserable. That is a possibility here, guys, on the 13th. So I want you guys to pay attention. Now, the good news is the 19th, the sun finally leaves Capricorn and goes into your 1st house. Now you're feeling much more empowered. Now the energy is behind you. You have the sun and you'll have Pluto in this 1st house. Very powerful, dynamic need for change after the 19th, especially on the 29th when the new moon also continues to highlight this 1st house. So you're completely reinventing yourself. And so this is a time for you now to push forward with either your physical appearance, changing your physical appearance, like working out, change your hairstyle, new clothes, whatever, or just taking back your power and saying, nope, this is what I need to do, this is what I'm doing and where I'm going. And especially on the 30th when Uranus, your ruler, wakes up. And it's in the 4th house. So there's definitely some dynamic changes taking place in the home, family life, and with your feelings. This month is a big month with a lot of feelings and emotions and family issues that are going to be on the table that you'll be dealing with. Now, last but not least is Pisces and Pisces rising. This month, we have Venus going through your sign. So many of you are very magnetic. You're drawing people or situations to you. You're thinking a lot more about financial matters. And it looks pretty good as we start off the new year. With the sun going through the 11th, you're focusing on the future and friendships and acquaintances. And, for the most part, you're doing okay. But again, this pesky Mars opposition to Pluto is driving everyone a little cuckoo because it's pushing and pulling. And for you guys, it has to do with mental health, having to do with your daily routine. And so now that Mars is in Leo as we start off, it's going to retrograde back on January the 6th into the 5th house of love, romance, home, foundation, children, speculation, and anything to do with having fun. So maybe there's an opportunity to revisit something from the past that may bring you some joy. Maybe you're spending time with a child or a grandchild, or maybe you have a project you've always wanted to do, but you just didn't do it. So this is going to give you an opportunity to revisit that. But on the 13th, the full moon in Cancer will be conjunct this Mars. So it's a very, high-strung, emotional time for some reason. Maybe you're excited about something. Maybe you're moving. Maybe you're remodeling. Maybe you're reinventing yourself, because of all this energy in the 1st house. So this is going to be a monumental year for many of you because Saturn and Neptune are going to leave your sign and go into the 2nd house. And so this is going to, big changes are in the mix. So you might begin to see some of these this month around the 13th. You might be getting a glimpse of the future that you need to focus on. Now on the 19th, the sun leaves Capricorn and now enters your 12th house and in the sign of Aquarius. So this is where you're kind of going into a little bit of a backward mode with Mars retrograde in the 5th and the sun going through the 12th. You feel like you're kind of being confined or you're not quite sure what to do or where to go. Believe me, that will go away in February. It's just a temporary sort of pause to make you look at everything very clearly before you move forward. The new moon will also activate this 12th house. And so this is giving you an opportunity to listen to your intuition, realign your spiritual self, understand who you are and what's going on and what you want. And, this could also bring up a lot of intuition. You're one of the most intuitive signs of the zodiac. So listen to that little voice that says, I must do this. I need to go there. I need to do this. And so this is going to be a time to realign your spiritual self. Uranus goes direct on the 30th in the 3rd house of communication. So maybe you want to express yourself through writing or through video or through some other means. This could be a good time for many of you to do that. Okay, so do the best you can. You've got some favorable alignments in your 1st house, especially with Venus going through the 1st house, and it'll be conjuncting Saturn. So it's a very creative month for many of you. So if you're an artist or do something in a creative manner, this could be really good for you to express yourself. Okay, anyway, there you have it. There are all 12 signs, a basic brief overview of them. Next month, I should return back to the individual horoscopes for each sign. All right. Have a great month. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.